afternoon, guys and dolls. We welcome you to another exciting episode of Spotlight. Well, I'm Chingkee Mangcucang, and today's guest is a dynamic Filipino-American entrepreneur whose heart for service is just as powerful as her business savvy. She's the CEO and founder of One Heart Caregiver Services, LA Jobs Employment Agency Incorporated, and Summit Medical Billing Solutions Inc., three thriving companies built on compassion, vision, and excellence. With over 20 years of leadership, she's grown One Heart into one of California's fastest growing home care providers, now with 35 franchise locations nationwide, not just in LA. She's been named Woman of the Year, Empowered Woman CEO, and one of the top 50 influential Filipinas, and most recently received the Small Business of the Year award from the National Diversity Coalition. And in 2024, only last year, she launched One Heart Cares Foundation, giving back to seniors and families in need. Mga katribo, we are so proud to introduce to you. Join me in welcoming an inspiring leader and true heart-driven visionary, Belina Calderon-Nernberg. Did I pronounce your last name?
Yes,
right?
yes,
Okay.
you did.
Welcome, Belina, to Spotlight. Say hello
you.
to our mga katribo.
Hello, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. Actually, it's an honor to be invited as a guest here at Spotlight. Thank you so much.
Welcome. Gosh, you have so many laurels. You're wearing so many hats. And so, honestly, we're so proud of you. We're
Thank
so
you.
proud of you.
Thank you.
And it's really nice for you to be with us here today. So, Belina, let's start the ball rolling. I want our Katibas to know more about you and for them to be inspired by your experience and your accomplishments.
Okay.
So, you build not just but three successful companies. Okay, not one, but three. What inspired you to pursue entrepreneurship, especially in such people-centered business?
Well, I basically started much the same as a lot of Filipinos who come to the country, the United States. We all know it's a land of opportunity. So when we go there, we think of it as a place where we can build our American dream, create our own American story. And for me, when I started my life in the United States, I basically went there not really intending to stay, but coming from the Philippines and going to a first world country, I saw the big difference, especially the discipline of people there. So I fell in love with the country, and I thought, hey, maybe this is a good place for me to start building my family. I was only 24 years old when I went to the United States.
Still a baby.
Well, yeah.
Baby 20s.
Right, that's true. And I started working for a company. I was very fortunate to be able to find a company that petitioned me for my work permit and then my green card. So when I was working there for almost 10 years, I was thinking to myself, okay, I'm financially stable. I was able to pay my bills and all that. But being financially free, which was my dream, I wasn't really getting that. And I realized, just watching my bosses, who were two brothers, it was a cellular phone company that I was working for. I realized that the only way that for me to become financially free was to start my own business, being a business owner. Because then your potential to earn as much as you can becomes unlimited. So that's what I did. So it just started off with, starting with one business, which was one that I was very comfortable with, helping people become legal immigrants through employment. So I started the agency called LA Jobs Employment Agency. We've helped thousands of people have gainful employment in the U.S., and hundreds of people becoming green card holders through employment. And it's still
So
it's
you
still
started
there.
with the employment agency.
Correct, yes.
And what are the categories or the positions that you provide?
So these are mostly skilled, professional skilled workers. We started off with the H-1B. I don't know if people are familiar with that, but H-1B is basically a work visa that's given to people who are professional skilled workers.
When you say professional skilled workers, what are those in particular?
Like, for example, an accountant, that's a professional skilled worker. A bookkeeper is not. So computer programmers. I mean, during that time, back in 1991, that's when we had the web, people building websites and all that. So a lot of people that we placed were Filipinos who came to the U.S. who had degrees in, website design, or I'm sorry, what do you call that? Anything to do with computers, and then accountants. So they're.
So did you recruit from the Philippines, or did you help those who are already there?
We helped those who were already there. Yeah.
Oh,
So
that's
it
good.
was more of a change of status, like coming into the U.S., they come in as tourists, and then they realize, hey, you know what, I want to work here.
So
they
you
have,
started with this employment agency.
Correct.
In what year in particular?
that would be around 2001.
2001. And when did you think of putting up One Heart Caregiver Services?
So it's interesting because in 2001, when I started doing the business, not that I'm tooting my own horn, but as Filipinos, we're well known to have very good work ethics, right? So when I started the business, a lot of the employers who hired people from me were very impressed with Filipino workers. And they started, to trust me with giving them the right office personnel or skilled workers. And what they did was, maybe a year and a half of doing the business, we became so popular in LA County among businesses that they started calling me for caregivers and nannies. Like, Belina, they called me, Belina, I really like Grace, she's a great accountant. Can you give me somebody who can take care of my mom? She's coming out of the hospital.
Gave you an idea.
Gave me an idea. And of course, at that time, I was already thinking, hey, you know what, this is a good business opportunity. I was thinking more of, and being an entrepreneur, you're thinking, how much money will I make here, right? So that's how I started. And then I said, but I was scared. I didn't want to start doing a business which involved having someone go into somebody's home, and I wasn't sure what's going to happen there. There's a lot of risk. So I kept saying, putting it off. No, I can't do it. I can't do it. And then finally I said, you know what, let me go ahead and try it. And I was very fortunate that I was able to meet someone who, also Filipina, who worked as a caregiver. And at the same time, she also worked as a marketer. She built relationships with facilities. So it was like all in one, right? So I hired her. She actually came to me because she wanted to be petitioned for her green card. And I said, okay, fine, I'm going to hire you and let's do this. Teach me. So I was not afraid to ask people for help. And then that's what it is. So we started the home care. And the good thing about home care is that it is our niche. Filipinos are just inherently...
It's naturally
Yes.
caring.
Correct.
Okay, so it has grown. One Heart Caregiver Services has grown impressively for years. Now with 35 franchise locations.
Right.
It's really impressive. How did you? What's the key, or what's your secret in scaling the business as it is now, and it's still growing, while staying true to your compassionate vision or mission?
I would say that the secret to that really is the people that you work with, the people who work with you in your organization, and the people that you, or I would say the franchisees that we have, choosing the right people to carry the brand. Because we have a very strong brand, and it's a brand that's built on the core values of integrity, professionalism, and malasakit, which is the heart. So we find that the right kind of person to carry the banner of One Heart. So if you find the right person with the right commitment, initiative, and passion to really help the seniors, then it's great.
So you devise a selection pattern or program where you choose your people. Are these mostly Filipinos?
Not all of them are Filipinos, not all of them, but a large majority of my staff, yes, and executives are Filipinos.
How did you think about having a franchise? When did it start? When, after putting up the One Heart Care Services, when do you think of, I have to have this franchise?
So it's interesting. Actually, when I started the business and we became very successful, I would say, even during the 2007-2008 financial crisis, we exploded instead of closing the business. So it's very recession-proof. So with the success of the business, I was thinking of, hey, maybe I should open another office. We were in Beverly Hills at that time, our office. And I said, I'm getting clients from all over, not just in LA County, but also in Orange County, which is quite far, right? Yeah.
So, San Diego.
Exactly, right? So I thought, okay, maybe I should open another office there. But then I started thinking, if I do that, then I'm going to be spreading myself too thin, going from one office to the other and all that. I had two offices at that time, one in Encino for LA jobs, and then in Beverly Hills, I had the Caregiver agency. So I was going back and forth, and that's like an hour and a half drive, right? And I was very, very fortunate, actually.
Valley
To LA, right? And I was very fortunate that I was able to hire someone back in 2007, and his name is Randolph Clarito, also coming from the Philippines, and his background was in
It seems like God is giving you all the people you need.
correct. So this gentleman, his background was in franchising here, you know. So what he did was, when he was working for me as basically a marketer, a salesperson, he started telling me, hey, you know what, I've seen outside our competition are being beaten by us, and we're just a small company, and these are big names, big franchisors. Why don't we franchise ourselves? And I said, that was back in 2010. So as you can imagine, I was already 10 years in the business. And I was telling myself, yeah, maybe we should do that. But I was very hesitant. Took me 4 years. 4 years to decide to finally do it. And the only reason for that is because I wanted to make sure that the business was really solid.
So the One Heart Caregiver Services has been running for 4 years.
We started that actually in 2003.
2003.
Around
2001
2003.
for the
LA jobs.
Yeah, for LA jobs, and then 2003.
Yes.
And then it took another 4 years to venture into franchising.
No, I started franchising in 2014. So around 2010, from 2003 2010, that's when I was thinking, hey, maybe I should, open other offices, corporate owned. But then, like I said, fortunately I had this gentleman, Randolph Clarito, and he was like, let's start, let's do franchising, think about it. And I kept saying no, because I was like scared, hey, I'm going to promise someone that, hey, you're going to be successful.
It's difficult
How sure am
to
I?
be not in control of.
Exactly. And I was thinking, if I'm successful, doesn't necessarily mean that this person's going to be successful. I need to create a really good system. So, again, 4 years, he just kept saying, hey, we're good. I think, do this and do that. And I was also fortunate that my firstborn son, at that time, graduated from college, joined the company, and he started looking at everything we had. Before, kasi medyo mano-mano eh. Timesheets are handwritten, they submit to the office, the caregivers, and we did that. And being a millennial, digital, everything is like, So what he did was he started systemizing the processes, the systems that we had, and I felt confident enough. By 2014, I said, okay, fine, let's do it. Yeah.
Wow.
So that's how we started.
Well, you have been recognized, Belina, as you have received so many honors.
Right.
You've been recognized as Woman of the Year, top 50 influential Filipinas, and more. What do these accolades mean to you personally and professionally?
Wow, that's a good question, and that's kind of tough. But personally, it's always, it makes me proud of myself. I feel like it's something.
How do you keep your feet on the ground? Mga katribo, you can feel her warmth, her sincerity, not because she's our guest, but because I can feel it. So with all those accolades and recognitions, look at her. You can feel her compassion, her sincerity. Now, please answer my question. I want them to know. Share it with us. How does it feel?
Well, personally, it makes me feel good. That, any recognition, you always would feel good about it. It's very positive, and it kind of validates that what I do is something that's good, something that's helping people. And taking care of seniors, they're the vulnerable part of our community, right? And they need help. And I see that in the US. It's not like here in the Philippines where the children take care of the parents and the grandparents and all that. There in the States, it's a little bit different. The moment you're 18 years old, you want to say goodbye to your parents. You want to get your own apartment.
Fly, have your own place.
Right. And the US is so vast that they go to different states. So the parents are usually left to live alone in their homes. So yeah, it makes me feel good to get all of these recognition. Professionally, of course, it's a plus. I have to admit, not everyone gets an award or is recognized. Although I know so many people who are very well deserving of awards themselves, but unfortunately, they're not. They're not being publicly recognized and all that. So professionally, it's a good thing to be recognized, and you can put that in your, your resume. So that's what it is. Yeah.
Well, that's wonderful, Belina. Again, congratulations for all those. It feels like all of us Filipinos have given that award too. Having a Filipina being given such honors. So, launching the One Heart Foundation, One
Yes.
Heart cares caregiver services was really tough. You know, that was in 2014. Am I right?
Yes.
2014. So, how do you see the business in maybe a few more years from now?
Wow. So right now we are really, pedal to the metal, so to speak, trying to build a company. I'm very proud that it's a Filipino-owned, 100% Filipino-owned agency and franchise. And, I think it's about time that Filipinos go into the mainstream in
Are
America.
those franchisee mostly Filipinos?
I would say about 70% are Filipinos. Yes, yes. And I think it's because it's my warm market, But there are, we have, right now, the new ones who are outside of California are not, you know what? They're not Filipinos. And believe it or not, they're actually people coming from outside the country, like Canada, going into the United States as E2 or investors visas.
And
So
they are franchising as well.
they're franchising the business.
Wonderful. That's nice to know.
Yeah.
How do you see how this business will impact the community and the rest of the Filipinos?
The impact on the community is really, I think, what we do is something that is a necessity. Everybody is growing old, and I think people say, hey, in America it's like either the only sure thing. I'm not sure who said that. Gosh, was it Washington?
I know.
Death and taxes, right?
Taxes and death, yeah.
Correct. But now I'm saying it's not just death and taxes, it's also long-term care because everybody's growing old. You need to be taken care of. You cannot take care of yourself, right? So the impact in the community is really being able to help those who are in need.
And making them feel and experience mostly the Filipino way
Yes,
of
exactly.
giving care
Yes,
to
yes.
our elderly.
Right, the malasakit that we have,
which we are known
Yeah,
for.
right, and then making them feel like there's family still,
Yeah,
and
family
that's
even if they're not really by blood,
Correct,
but
yes.
someone who take care of them. That's wonderful. Really nice to have someone, getting old, that you have someone you can rely on, especially when you say, of course, most of the
Right.
children of Americans, they leave the houses, they leave the nest at
Right.
the age of 18 and soar to wherever they want to go.
That's true. That's true. By the way, going back to your question about where do I see ourselves in 5 years,
Yeah,
2 years,
maybe
3 years
5
from now?
years,
Yeah, I would say that my vision for the company is really that we become a household name in America. That when people think about, hey, my mom needs help, my mom
getting
needs
there. It's
a
getting
companion, or
Because
they
you
would think
already
One
have,
Heart.
in other states, you already have, you said you have Florida.
Yeah, we have Florida, we have Washington, Texas, Nevada has always been
Nevada?
there. Yes, California, of course, we're
Yes,
based in
because-
California, so it's all like.
But it seems like the business is saturated. You're all over California.
California, yes, we still have open territories in San Diego that we can carve out. Northern California is a very, very great area, for this kind of business.
Mga katribo, if you wanna do business and you don't know where to put your money, especially those who are almost retiring and they have their children, they're worried about, my children is like this, he needs something to work on, like business, and they plan to settle in the U.S. Well, look for Belina. We'll talk about the business and the details, how to take or to start the business after a short break. Please stay with us.
And this break is brought to you by Meralco, ang liwanag ng bukas. SM, we've got it all for you. Smart. Live more today. Union Bank. It starts with you.
Usapang OFW is the show that honors the journeys of our modern-day heroes, our OFWs. Join Chingkee Fernandez, John Dodson, and Rafi Ayang every Tuesday and Thursday at 3 p.m. to hear the real stories behind the sacrifices. Watch it live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Want to hear from thought leaders shaping our world? Straight Talk with Chito Lazada and Ted Montalibano dives into leadership, politics, and business every Wednesday at 10 a.m. Catch conversation live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok.
Ready for the hot takes of today's biggest issues? Hot Patatas with Vernon Velasco and Carl Magadia delivers the news that matters every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 3 p.m. Tune in live on Daily Tribune's Facebook page, Tribune Now on YouTube, and Daily Tribune Official on TikTok, where the real talk happens.
Utol, once just a colloquial term for a brother or sister. Today, the same term stands for a better option to your transportation needs. Unified Transport Operations League, or better known as Utol, was established to give you an alternative to ride-hailing, with the concept of availing the service with care and compassion, as if it was rendered by your own sibling. Now, who would you prefer to drive you home? Utol, the ride-hailing app to consider.
Madaling sabihin mong negosyo, pero ang dami mong alalahanin dyan. Saan kukuha ng mga sangkap, saan ang pwesto mo, trabahante, lalo na ano ang puhunan na gagamitin mo. Ang ating mga kababayan na nagsusumikap ang nangangailangan ng gabay at patnubay para mas handang harapin ang mga pagsubok ng pangangalakal. Ang Kaunlad Pinoy Party List ang tunay niyong kadamay. Kasama niyo kami sa pag-unlad. Bawat Pilipino, dapat may negosyo.
Kaunlad Pinoy Party List number 133.
Welcome back, mga ka-tribu. I have to remove my glasses. I can't. I can't. It's hard. Okay. Tatanda rin kayo. Okay. Welcome back, mga ka-tribu. But before we continue with our beautiful and very successful guest, I would like to talk about Aboitiz Foundation and how it helps our people and how it contributes so much to the community. Aboitiz Foundation is partnering with TESDA to train 500 women as virtual assistant, equipping them with essential digital skills for remote work. Continuing its commitment to innovation, Aboitiz Foundation is also bringing solar electricity and internet access to over 300 off-grid schools, empowering communities and enhancing education nationwide. Well, God bless you more, Aboitiz, for all this extra work that you give back to the community. Okay, so back to questions, Belina, and welcome back.
Thank you.
Yeah. So, the home care industry can be incredibly challenging. What have been some of the biggest obstacles you've faced as a leader, and how did you overcome them? And also, I would like you to share briefly what you did during the pandemic.
Okay. Well, one of the biggest obstacles that I face, I mean, every home care business in the U.S. is facing is the fact that caregivers, because the job is 24/7, meaning there's 3 different shifts. I don't mean to say that you work 24 hours per day, but there are shifts, right? And because of that, caregivers are non-exclusive, meaning they work for different agencies. So it creates a shortage, so to speak. So that's the biggest challenge that we have with the business, where you call someone and then the next minute
So the hiring is continuous.
It's always continuous. Yeah, you need to have 100 caregivers for you to be able to place 2 or 3 who will accept the job, kind of thing. But with our franchise, we've developed a system to overcome that that problem. So that's one obstacle. And as far as the pandemic is concerned, that one was really a big obstacle as far as a lot of businesses everywhere, I mean worldwide. But with us, it actually proved to be something which was positive. And I think it was because of the steps that we took to overcome that challenge. So during the pandemic, of course, everybody closed down, right?
yeah.
And because most of our clients were referrals from hospitals, from residential care facilities like, assisted living facilities or skilled nursing facilities, the doors were closed. We're not even allowed to go in and talk to, to our contacts over there and ask for referrals and all that. And a lot of our competitors stayed away because they were told, "Oh, sorry, we can't even open the door." Not even for families to visit their
And maybe even
seniors.
scared.
Oh,
because
yeah.
Everything was uncertain.
Correct, correct. And then the elderly are the most vulnerable to the disease, right? To the virus. So, but with me, I kind of issued a directive to all our franchisees and our staff as well. And I said, you know what, we're not going to stop. We can work from home, but we will continue. Send emails just saying hi, hello to our, to our contacts. Knock on the door anyway and bring them the donuts, bring them, whatever we want to give them, just show our presence. Leave our flyers at the door. And until finally, in the US, all these facilities, what they did was they would leave like a table outside their door, and that's where you put in whatever marketing materials you want to put there, or if you want to give them donuts or what, they appreciate that. You leave it at the door, and so that's what we did. And after that, the facilities realized that we were reliable, that they can count on us, and we're not going away. And the time came where they needed someone to help out, and their own staff had to be home because somebody was sick. We were there. So they started calling us instead of us like asking for, hey, do you have any referrals to give us? They were the ones now calling, hey, can you help us?
That's a good marketing strategy.
Correct. You just need to know, like, if any challenge that or any obstacle that you face, you don't think of it as a challenge or something that could bring you down. We look at it as an opportunity, to create more business or to be able to help, to be the solution, basically, of the problem.
So how important it is for you to maintain good relations with your clients and even with your prospective clients?
It's absolutely the best thing that you need to do. I mean, that's first and foremost, you need to delight your customers. They have to be happy, And of course, your referral sources, the most important thing for me is being reliable. You have to protect your integrity. If you say you're going to be there, you're going to be there. You can't say, okay, I'll be there, 2 o'clock, I'll have a caregiver, and then your caregiver's not there. We have had instances, for example, where we have our franchisees who are the owners themselves, right? So they go in, they talk to an executive director of a facility, and the executive director says, hey, John, I need somebody to take care of Mrs. Smith in an hour, 2 hours, right? And because he does, and he commits, okay, I'll find someone. Caregiver accepts the job and then suddenly flakes out and doesn't come. You know what the franchise owner would do? Change into scrubs and do it himself.
Oh, wow.
That's what they do. That's what we do. So there's that integrity that, hey, if I said this, I'm going to do it. Yeah.
So when you said, I'll be there, you'll be there.
You have to be there.
You
Yeah.
have to be there. So that means that the owners should also be ready to give this
Correct.
particular care to your
Yes.
clients.
Yes.
So in case of emergency, you're there to cover for them.
Correct. Yeah.
Oh, that's really nice. Well, you've trained so many caregivers and professionals with your businesses, starting with LA jobs, and then now with One Heart Caregiver Services. You've trained so many people, so many caregivers. How do you build that strong team culture? What is your leadership strategy? How do you keep that? Because you said, they have to be there, the feeling that yung malasakit,
Correct.
they have to be there for
Yeah.
your clients. How do you build that particular team culture?
Yeah. So it all starts with the staff that we have. Within the office itself, I make sure that everybody feels like family. I mean, only a couple days ago, before I left the U.S., I did an evaluation of an employee, performance evaluation. And one of the things that I asked her was, how do you feel about working here? You've been here 3 years now. And she said, one of the things and she's a Filipino, moved to the U.S., became a student, and then finally got her work visa through us. And she said, one of the things that I love about waking up in the morning is that I look forward to coming to work. And I said, why is that? And she said, have you seen us during lunch break? And my God, during lunch break, everybody's in the lunchroom. right? And they're all sharing food.
Oh,
You know,
how
they cook
nice.
rice in our kitchen. You know, they have a rice cooker now because a lot of them are Filipinos, and even the non-Filipinos love, you know,
The
eating the food, the
culture.
culture,
Yeah,
the
the
family.
tradition that we've been
Yes,
doing, we've
and
been
most of them who
practicing.
come to the country, they don't have families there. You know, they might have a cousin and all that, but they just feel that belonging. And because of that belonging, they have that malasakit for the company and malasakit for their co-workers as well. And it rolls down to the caregivers. When we talk to caregivers, we treat them with respect. You know, we don't treat them like, okay, you want to come to work or no? It's not like that. It's really you know, we show them that we care for them. So it builds the trust, the family dynamic. You know,
So your leadership style is more like a family way of
right.
running the household.
Correct,
You know,
yes.
you have compassion, consideration, the training that you give them so that they can give the best service they can possibly give. How do you balance it with discipline? Because you know there are times when you get challenged with some not easy to manage employees or
Right.
partners.
Well, fortunately for me, I haven't really had so much problems with, you know, things like that, like bad behavior in the office and all that. Everybody's just pretty good. Maybe because I choose my employees very well, vetted very well. The caregivers are much the same way. But yeah, discipline, I wouldn't call it discipline, but it's more like just making sure that everybody follows the rules, you know, set by the company. And if somebody, you know, does something wrong, then we make sure that we go through the process of giving a warning. You know, we just follow rules. Yeah.
Well, my next question actually has something to do with, is connected to the first question. While you're making waves, you are getting really popular and you're getting there to be a household word, you know, name in the U.S. and as such an entrepreneur and been there for like over 2 decades. They always say that once you're in the U.S., you're changed. You're not doing or observing some Filipino traditions and culture. How do you get connected to your roots? And how do you keep because malasakit is a Filipino culture. How do you keep the culture, our best Filipino practices in mind, and how do you still practice it?
Well, for me, it's I don't know. Growing up here, I mean, it's not like I went to the U.S. when I was way too young, like 7 or 6. I was 24. I was an adult. You know,
So you already built
exactly. Yeah. So I had that strong foundation already coming from the Philippines, and you know, I'm proud to be an American, but I'm also prouder to be a Filipino because of that culture that I grew up in, and I believe that a lot of the traits that we have as Filipinos are really it's really great. You know, it's good for us. It's just the way that we care for people is something that not only is very connected to what I do now. I mean, in fact, the reason why I really went into this and I think I thrived in it was because my mom inspired me. You know, my mom was sick when I was in the States.
How is she now?
She passed away
so sorry to hear that.
long time ago, but she was sick for like 5 years with cancer, and before she passed on, the only thing I can do was talk to her on the phone, come here like once a year. She was bedridden for a year. I couldn't even visit her as much as I could. And when I started going into this business, I felt like this is my way of, I was so guilty that I wasn't here, right? So it's my way of showing her, you know, in heaven that, hey, I couldn't take care of you. I couldn't be there for you, but here are these elderly people who are just like you that we can take care of. It doesn't have to be me physically being there, but you know, the caregivers that we train and we tell them, you know, treat this person as your family, as your mom, your dad. It's like me being able to give that back to my mom.
Yeah, it looks like the business is really self-fulfilling other than the economic side of it. Can you tell our Katribune how can they possibly contact you if they want to invest on a business like this? Because honestly, mga Katribune, I'm thinking of talking to my family members and say, let's be like Belina. So how can they contact Belina and the One Heart Caregiver Services?
Okay. Well, for this, if anybody's interested to explore this franchise opportunity, they can just Google the number one,
One.
and then heartfranchise.com.
Heart, the word heart.
The word heart,
Okay.
and then franchise.com, and it will tell them everything about the franchise opportunity that
Okay,
we're
so you
offering.
Google mga katribo and find out how you can possibly start a business that will touch the lives of so many people. It's really self-fulfilling. If you feel that, that will make you feel better and make you feel fulfilled, then go for it. So looking ahead, how do you see One Heart? And what else do you want to do with One Heart?
Well, like I said, One Heart is doing a lot of good in the community, especially in our immediate community. And I'm so happy that we're going national now. As I mentioned earlier, I want it to be a household name. I want when people think about...
When they think of someone.
Yeah, when they think that, hey, I need help for
yeah.
my mom. Or my mom is in California, I'm in Chicago. I need somebody I can trust to be there. The first word that comes in mind is One Heart, right?
Yes.
So that's what I'm looking at. And of course, now that we have, well, my husband Danny has been telling me, when are you going to retire? He retired way before me.
Have you
right?
ever thought of retiring?
I have.
Oh,
I have
really?
many times, but it keeps going forward and forward.
But well, you're still young to retire.
Well, maybe.
Relatively, of course.
Of course. But yeah, my goal is to be able to, even when I'm out of the business, I want to be able to still continue helping the community. That's why we set up the One Heart Cares Foundation. And the One Heart Cares Foundation...
Can you talk about it?
Yes,
Tell
yes,
us about
thank you.
One Heart Care Foundation.
Yeah. So One Heart Cares Foundation, we launched that officially in December of last year. And that is something that I've been looking into establishing, or the foundation, to be able to help a lot of, I would say, a majority of the senior population in America who cannot afford the care. I mean, believe it or not, the cost of long-term care is really expensive. And there's a very few percentage of the population who can afford it. Can you imagine paying for a 24-hour care? And we have clients who are needing 24-hour care. And they usually just want one person. And with the overtime and all that, you would pay about $800 a day for in-home care. Caregiver gets, let's say, $500. That's the cost for one day, right? And not everyone can afford that.
Oh, yeah.
Right? So we have a lot of seniors that sometimes they come to us and they say, I can't afford you. So what we do is we help them get medical care. Medi-Cal, which is Medicaid. We help them, we kind of guide them, hey, you need to get IHSS. The government can help you with that. But then I was thinking, is there any other way that we can help? So that's how we built the One Heart Cares Foundation. And one of the things that we do, or some of the things that we do with the One Heart Cares Foundation, is not only offer respite care, which is free to them, or caregiving, which is, of course, it's limited based on budgets and all, but we also are, our focus is wellness, not sickness, right? So wellness would be mental health as well. Making sure, like, for example, programs that we have right now, which we offer to our seniors as an agency, and we don't charge them anything. We have, for example, brain fitness, brain aerobics programs. We go there, we have
brain aerobics.
Yes, exactly. So we offer this, and we have our caregivers, let's say, go to homes and not just sit with a senior watching TV. We give them cards, play cards that are, I don't know what you call that, but it's like Snap. Like you open the card and then you remember where's the other one and you close it. I forgot the name of that, but in high school we called it Snap.
It's still Snap. I don't know what they call it. Yeah.
So we have things like that which, encourages you to think, right? So those are some of the programs that we have. That we want to be able to give to the community as well through the One Heart Cares Foundation.
Well, it's very exciting, Belina. I hope we have more time to talk about so many things. Any other than your baby now, which is the One Heart Care Foundation? Do you have any business in mind? It seems that your mind has never stopped thinking of businesses.
Right now, I kind of stop myself from thinking I might get divorced if my husband, thinks that, hey, you don't have any
Hi,
plans of.
Danny. Hello.
He might say, you don't look like you have plans of, retiring like me, right? Like him. So no, I want to focus on the One
But
Heart
your
Cares
husband
Fund.
has nothing to do with the operations and all this time?
Operations, no, but when I come home, he's my boss. He
Well, it's
tells
always like that.
he actually what do you call this? He's my sounding board. Everything that happens in the office. I let him know, and he gives me a lot of good insight and advice. Sometimes I don't
nice.
listen to him.
Yeah.
I pretend I don't listen to him, but I do what he says. You know what I mean? So he's had over 50 years of experience in business, or 40 years of experience in business. So he has a lot of good nuggets of wisdom that I
So,
get from
any
him.
parting words, Belina, to our Katribo? Anything that you'll give them advice, especially those who would like to start business or those who are facing some challenges? Anything to say to them?
Well, yeah, for those who are, especially those who are wanting to go into business for the first time and all that, young entrepreneurs also, or anyone who wants to explore being a business owner, I would say that number one is you need to find the problem. To be successful in business, you need to find a problem and be the solution. You have to solve that problem. So like with me, I saw the problem of home care, right? People cannot afford it, people who can afford it, they cannot find the right caregivers. So I found the solution. And I'm very lucky that I was able to go in a niche, which is the Filipino community. And once you get that, protect your integrity, because integrity is very important. You have to gain the trust of your clients and your staff, your team. And once you do that, you're off. You're good for success. Yeah.
Oh, Belina, you mentioned that you have a lot of Filipino caregivers, and you call them not employees, but caregivers. On the other side, do you also have Filipino clients?
Filipino clients, yes, we do. We do have Filipino clients as well, but it's very limited. I mean, most Filipinos who live in America, they live with their children. We don't just, let them go anywhere. We usually really, kup natin, di ba? We make sure that we are with them. So there are, I would say in the last, I don't know, 20 years that I've been doing this, I can only think of probably 3 or 4 families that we helped. And it's only because the children had worked themselves and they couldn't really take care anymore of their...
But they are staying with the family, with them.
They're still staying with the family. I mean, the parents or the senior is usually still with the family.
With the family. Yeah, and I also know that a lot of them go back to the Philippines when they retired, and they are being taken care of by their relatives and even grandchildren.
Right,
here.
right. And of course, here it's a lot more affordable. The caregivers.
They will have more value for their money, especially when
Correct.
they're receiving pensions.
Correct. Yes. Yeah. When they're receiving their social security benefits, yeah, that's a plus for them. Yeah.
Okay, that's it. I'm so happy that you grace our show, Belina.
Thank you.
It's been wonderful knowing that a Filipina is making waves in the U.S. and we pray that you achieve your dreams and it'll be a household name. It's starting there. It's getting there. It has started. It's getting there. You started in California. Now you're in Nevada. You're also present now in Florida, and then in Texas and Washington. So
Maryland as
Oh,
well.
Maryland. Oh,
Yes.
wow, that's Midwest,
Yes.
even so far. But we hope that the next time we see each other, we'll say, "Oh, Chingkee, I'm so glad to tell you, I'm present. I saturated most of the Americas."
Yes.
And hopefully, you can also start or see how your foundation can help our Filipino people
Yes.
in the country.
For
So,
sure.
yeah, we wish you all the best. I honestly, sincerely want you to soar more and be able to help a lot of people, not only Filipinos, but those who need your help. Hope your compassion and love, your natural love for people will continue, and God bless you more. Oh, thank you so much, mga katribo, for being with us. Say thank you to Belina. So anyway, I have also, before anything else, we would like to mention that if you are stuck in midday traffic, o baka naman out for lunch or siesta, bigyan ng 50 pesos yan. No need to stress, mga kachibo, from 12 noon to 4 p.m., Monday to Friday. Enjoy 50 pesos off your utol ride within all operational areas. And I tell you, I tried. It was good. I don't know if they're drivers or all that, but I had a good experience with Utol. Just book a ride with a minimum spend of 200 and get an instant discount. But hurry, promo runs until May 23, 2025. So, 1 month na lang. Your daily ride just get better and safer. Sakay na, mga utol! Sakay na, mga utol sa utol! And that's a wrap for today's episode of Spotlight. Again, thank you very much, Belina, for gracing this show. It was indeed an honor and a privilege. We hope you were inspired by our conversation with Belina Calderon-Nernberg and gained insight into her incredible journey as a heart-driven entrepreneur and leader in the home care industry. If you missed any part of today's discussion, don't worry, you can always catch the full episode online. And don't forget to tune in tomorrow for Straight Talk at 10 a.m., followed by Hot Patatas at 3 p.m. for more meaningful conversation and breaking stories. And please don't forget Usapang OFW will follow shortly. It's been such a pleasure having you with us. Until next time, stay informed, stay inspired, and stay empowered. I'm Chingkee Mangcucang, and this has been your Spotlight.
Ba't iba-iba ang distribution charge sa residential customers? Sa pagko-compute ng distribution rate para sa residential customers, sumusunod tayo sa tinatawag na socialized structure. Ibig sabihin, kung mas mababa ang konsumo, mas mababa din ang charge. Itong ganitong klaseng socialized structure ay ginawa ng gobyerno natin upang makaagapay naman yung mga kababayan natin na titipid o di naman kaya ay hindi kalakihan ang konsumo ng kuryente dahil limitado ang kanilang appliances sa bahay. Ang lifeline customers naman natin na 100 kilowatt hours and below, may kaukulang discount rin na nag-a-apply sa kabuang bill. So that includes of course yung distribution charge rin. Para sa ibang katanungan, ask Manong Joe lang. Hanggang sa muli mga katribo.